Can men talk about women and women talk about men? I think so. So,
If I were king of the forest, not queen, not duke, not prince, my regal robes of the forest would be satin, and not of a cotton, and not chintz. I'd command each thing, be it fish or fowl, with a woof and a woof and a royal growl. As I'd click my heel, all the trees would kneel, and the mountains bow, and the bulls kowtow. And the sparrow would take wing. Fie, were a king. Each rabbit would show respect to me. The chipmunks genuflect to me. The tail would lash, I would show compassion for every underling. Fie.
He sings so hard. He's serious.
Just here.
Your Majesty, if you were king, you wouldn't be afraid of anything?
Not nobody! Not no-how!
Not even a rhinoceros?
Imposterous!
How about a hippopotamus?
Why, I'd trash him from top to bottomless.
Supposing you met an elephant?
I'd wrap him up in cellophane.
What if it were a brontosaurus?
I'd show him who was king of the forest.
How?
How? Courage. What makes a king out of a slave? Courage. What makes the flag on the mast to wave? Courage. What makes the elephant charge his tusk in the misty mist or the dusky dusk? What makes the muskrat guard his musk? Courage. What makes the sphinx the seventh wonder? Courage. What makes the dawn come up like thunder? Courage. What makes the Hottentot so hot? What puts the ape in apricot? What have they got that I ain't got? Courage. You could say that again.
Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Moleski. This is my YouTube channel. Today, I would like to talk about the differences between a prince and a king, just like I did before between a princess and a queen. Prince, king, princess, queen. Now, I'm not a man. But like I said, I think I'm just already defending myself between some of you little meanie pants. I've never been the type of person who has the logic of, if you're not a man, you can't talk about men. If you're not a woman, you can't, and you're a man, you can't talk about women's reproductive rights. If you're not black, you can't talk about blacks. If you're not white, you can't talk about whites. That seems ridiculous to me. Maybe not to you, but that's my excuse for going forward. And again, public service announcement, this is an opinion piece. You may agree or disagree. You can tell me in the comments below, and I will do my commenting on comments video tomorrow. So let us begin. What is the difference between a prince and a king? So, per usual, I don't know exactly where to start, but I think I'm going to start with wounds. Now, every person has a wound, but only kings acknowledge their wound and work to make it better. Now, a prince will have a wound, but he'll avoid it. But this is really bad and destructive for everyone around him and him himself. I'll explain why. So let's say that he has a wound on his hand. He may try to hide it from those around him. Maybe he's concerned that he'll be judged over it. Maybe he got the wound doing something he shouldn't have been doing anyway. And he doesn't want to get in trouble. He doesn't want to explain himself, so he'll hide the wound. But here's 3 things that happen when you hide a wound. You hurt. And that makes you angry and unreasonable. And while a wound does create an emotional response, of course, that's logical. But when no one knows about it, when you don't tell anyone about it, your emotion is not understood by others. So people will deem you as unable to control your emotions. So emotional, evil, unfair. And this alienates you from everyone around you, and it makes you not known. And if there's one thing that all humans, black, white, women, men need, it's to be known by someone, typically their family, their queen. Okay, and if you don't want a queen, that's fine, but even to those around them, they won't be known, and that's really bad. The other thing is you become overly sensitive to the wound. You don't want anyone to see it, so you start acting in unnatural ways to protect it. You're just fixated on it. And the third thing is you do become obsessed with the wound, even after the wound has gone, and you're afraid that anyone around you could hurt it anew. You get into the habit of unnaturally protecting it even when there's really no threat. So you're constantly protecting and suspecting. Protect, suspect, protect, suspect. Can you say that over and over? Protect, suspect, protect, suspect. Anyway, that's what a king does. He's like, oh yeah, I hurt my finger. Ah! I hurt it. You guys, I'm going to make sure that it gets better, but I'm not going to be weird. I'm not going to think you're going to touch it. I'm not going to try to hide it. So that's the wound part. Hey, sorry, I'm in the middle of editing and I forgot to mention a story that is applicable. So there was a gentleman who started attending the meetup, I don't know, 6 months to a year ago. And it was his first or second meetup. So he's around like 25 people that he's never met before. And for the first time, he raises his hand. I think we're talking about vulnerability. I'm not for positive, but I think it was vulnerability. And he said, yeah, I was molested by my stepdad when I was younger, and that really fucked me up. So I got addicted to heroin and meth for like 7 years, and I totally destroyed parts of my life and blah, 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 blah. And there's been rare times in my life. Now, I know you might not care what I think, but I care about telling you. You might care. I've never respected someone immediately before as I did this person, because he had a wound that's serious shit. I'm sure some of you have been sexually abused, molested. I'm sure some of you have had addictions, but I don't know how many people are willing to be like, yeah, that was me. That was me. Here I am, 100%. Here's my wounds. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid of you hurting the wound. And people now even talk about him like at that moment that they respected him. Like he stuck out, and now they are not afraid of saying anything around him because he's so forthright. That's it. I just wanted to tell you that because I think it's awesome. So it was worth sharing. Okay, now I'll go back to my other... Yeah, okay, bye. Okay, when a king is honest about his wounds, he becomes... people around him trust him to tell the truth. And only when you trust yourself and are strong enough to reveal yourself can you trust those around you. A prince typically isn't trusting to the people around him. He doesn't even trust his ability to choose trustworthy people. And I'm going to bring this to something that Jordan Peterson said that I really liked. He said that some people in relationships will always have to win an argument. They'll never let their partner win an argument. And his thing is, even if you are a better arguer or if you're right more often, help your partner sometimes win. Maybe they can naturally, or maybe they struggle with it. But if you don't, if you always win, then your partner is a loser. Your partner is a loser. If you're always the winner, then your partner is always a loser. And nobody wants to be with a loser. Same thing with being trusting and trustworthy. Only can you be with people who are trustworthy if you're trustworthy yourself, and then you can see them with clean eyes. I'm not saying to trust everyone, but like I said in the Queen video, if you are smart and wise, you're cultivating your kingdom, so you're choosing people correctly. So you can trust yourself to choose correctly. The other thing I would say about a king is he commands with competency. Think about, most of us have worked for someone who's a really shitty leader. And shitty leaders can take down companies and countries and households. Here's what I think a shitty leader is. Someone that takes all the credit for the good, and any failings, they put the blame on their team. A really good leader is someone who just has so much knowledge about their competency that they don't have to be like, oh, I did that. Oh, I did that. I did that. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. I did that. That they scoop out, no, that was you that did it. No, that was because of you. No, well, here's where you contributed. This is how your life, you being you, has helped this situation. And a person like that will naturally have people who want to be on his team. A king doesn't really have to fight people like, you must be on my team. They just have people coming to them because they're a good leader. All right, a lot of these are overlapping with the Queen, but I would say that a king has self-control over his emotions. So the thing with a man is most men have the capability to ravage a woman, a child, a company, a nation, but he doesn't. He knows that he can harm, but he doesn't.
Though my tail would lash, I would show compassion for every underling.
Now this is kind of tricky because it's a little bit of a juxtaposition into the next one, which is, I don't think a king seeks peace. This is the way you guys are gonna hate this. This is the way I see it. I think that peace equals avoiding pain. So that's logical and it makes sense, which is logical, but it also comes with its own set of harms. So to me, it's like when people say, well, I just took the higher path and I just let it go. Like they won't confront somebody because they're going to take the higher ground, but all they're doing is justifying a weakness by calling it the higher ground. And then they lose integrity in themselves. They can't see themselves with high integrity because they, through quick thinking and crafty nomenclature, they're forgiving themselves for not doing the thing that's hard. Now, a king, his presentation of his kingdom and his life is peaceful. He looks peaceful, again, because he's controlling his emotions. But a king is hard at work. So he's trying to decide what territory to take over. He is negotiating with other kings and other kingdoms. He's chopping heads off of people that are looking to harm his family and his kingdom. He's starting wars. He's avoiding wars. There's so much, but if you look at him, stoic, peaceful, calm, because he has it under control. He's not like, I just have so much. We've all met guys who are like, I just have so much. The exasperated person. I can't stand exasperated people. And everyone has a state of exasperation every now and then, maybe, I suppose. But some people live in a perpetual state of exasperation. And a king isn't exasperated because he's competent. He's got it. He's got it. And I guess all of this takes one thing, which is what I began this whole video with, which was the lion in The Wizard of Oz. He is seeking courage. He's not seeking a brain. He's not seeking a heart. He's seeking courage because that's what it takes to lead. You don't have to be the smartest guy to be a king, but you have to have courage. And all the things that I just said take courage in order to obtain. And then once you obtain those things, then you can become the king. Just like the lion was saying, if I do all these things, no, he didn't say that. He was describing how he would lead once he was a king. But he didn't even have the courage to get there. I like to think about I read somewhere that someone said that they didn't necessarily, they wanted to become a millionaire, but it wasn't so much about the $1 million. It was about becoming the person. How do I say this? He was excited about the $1 million, but he was more excited about the person that he would have to become to obtain that $1 million. So let's say it takes 1 year to obtain $1 million or 5. But the things that you have to do to get to that point are going to change you. Right now, if you don't have $1 million in the bank, you are a different person than what you would be once you acquired it. So I think that was the thing with the lion talking about he was talking about how he'd spend his $1 million, but he had no idea how to get to the $1 million. He knew in the general it was courage, but it wasn't applied. What do you think? I feel like there's many kings that watch this, that will watch this video. So I'd be interested in what you have to say on the subject. Do you want to be a king? Because a prince, I was listening to a video today about there's fathers and there's flyers. Like Peter Pan is a flyer. The Little Prince is a flyer. They don't want to touch the ground. One thing in this video that he said is because there's women on the ground and they don't want to go there. But there's other reasons. Someone who says something like, far out, man, they are far out, man. They're not really grounded. But being a prince could be, like a gigolo, a playboy, someone who never settles down. I think to some of you that sounds great. I would not say that that's king. I'd say that that's fun for you, but I wouldn't say that that's king mode. How many of you are actually interested in being a king? Have you ever been a king? Do you want to be a king again? Now, the other thing is, I don't think that you have to have a wife or a family to be a king, but I kind of think that you have to have a wife and a family to be a king. Jennifer, choose a soapbox. No, I won't choose a soapbox, because on the one hand, I think that you can showcase all the things that a king has, and you can be a king of your own domain. You can have your land, you can work it, but I just wonder, if I say this to women, I'll say it to men, there is something lost when you don't have that family to support. Now, the other thing I would say a king is they want to support. It's a pretty natural. I've heard in a lot of the comments, like, women are naturally, like, fill in every bad thing that you could think of, right? They're naturally this. Okay, fine. But men are naturally providers. The only time I find men that's not attractive to. Now, if you've been burnt and you're still, like, with the wound, like protecting it, that's one thing. But I think if you've cleaned the wounds and you want that direction, you're going in that direction, and you have an abundance. I've never met a man with abundance that has said that they're not interested in sharing that with a partner forever and ever. Amen. And okay, you don't believe me? Fine. I'm just telling you anecdotally that I have not met a wealthy man that has felt like that. Are they out there? Yeah. Duh. I'm just saying, I don't think it's as common as some people think. Whenever I do this and breathe out, I'm done, right? Again, I will do a commenting on comments video. If you have anything to say, if you agree with any of this, cool. If you don't, I'm sure you don't, then let me know. I ain't scared. We can talk about this tomorrow in greater detail. Okay. Have a good day. Be a king. Be a fly guy. Be a father. Whatever you want. It's your life. Self-responsibility.